A lot of people think their desired life feels far away because they need a better plan, more time, or more progress. Often, what really keeps it feeling far away is that it still doesn't feel psychologically real to them. They can picture it, want it, and talk about it, yet inwardly they're still relating to it as something distant, uncertain, or separate from who they are now. And as long as that's the case, the gap stays open. We've been deeply conditioned to live by linear time. Of course, time has its practical function. It helps society stay organized, it helps us record events, meet at the right place, and coordinate life. But being too bound to the concept of time can distort the way you relate to your own path. It makes you compare your timeline to someone else's, feel behind, rush, and force things before you are fully ready. And often, that pressure leads to premature results that don't even reflect what you truly wanted. Then you end up disappointed, discouraged, or feeling like a failure when really you were trying to move from pressure instead of alignment. So, instead of measuring your life mainly by time, measure it by alignment, readiness, and input. How aligned are you with what you say you want? How ready do you actually feel to receive it without doubting, wavering, or sabotaging it? And how much does your inner and outer input really match the output you say you desire? The more aligned you are, the more natural your desired reality starts to feel, and the more natural it feels, the less distant it becomes. This is how the gap begins to close. You collapse time by embodying the energetic readiness of the version of you who already holds the desired outcome without wavering. In other words, you mentally and emotionally tune yourself to the end state while continuing to live your actual life. You go about your day, but you stop letting external circumstances constantly dictate your internal state. This is where awareness and attention become crucial. Awareness lets you notice where you are, and attention lets you redirect. And this is important. Never beat yourself up for going off course. If you notice yourself slipping into doubt, fear, lack, or old patterns, don't turn that into proof that you've delayed everything or sabotaged yourself. Simply notice, redirect, and treat that moment as practice. You didn't ruin your progress, you're strengthening your awareness and your attention, and that is the work. You don't need to be positive or on all the time, and you certainly don't need to be perfectly focused every second of the day. That kind of thinking becomes toxic very quickly. Your task isn't perfection. Your task is recognition and redirection. And if you catch yourself often enough to redirect, that already means you're becoming more conscious. It means you're no longer fully run by the old pattern. And that matters far more than being perfect. Your current circumstances are also not the final truth about you. They're often just the visible effect of past thoughts, emotions, and actions. So, if the present is often an echo of what you've previously embodied, then reacting to it unconsciously only carries more of the same forward. Change requires a different choice in the now. You need to think differently, feel differently, respond differently, and become different at the level of state. Real change begins there, and this is also why your power is in the now. Not in obsessing over the future, not in dragging the past behind you unchanged, in the now. Because the present is the only point from which you can redirect anything. And this applies to both your relationship with the past and your relationship with the future. With the past, you can change its effect on you by changing the meaning you keep assigning to it. That doesn't mean pretending painful things didn't happen. It means seeing them through a wider lens. Instead of relating to an event as the thing that ruined you and explains why you're still behind, you may come to see what it revealed, taught, or forced you to understand about yourself. Once the interpretation shifts, your inner relationship to the event shifts too. Your thoughts change, the emotional charge softens, and the past stops holding exactly the same power over your present. As for the future, you can begin composing it ahead of time by tuning into the state you think the future will give you. Because most of the things we desire aren't only about the object itself. We want the feeling we think it will bring. The career, the money, the relationship, the home, the trip, the recognition, We imagine those things will finally make us feel secure, relieved, loved, free, respected, or at ease. But what if you began cultivating some of those emotions now? Because once you already had the thing, you wouldn't still be clinging to it in desperation, anxiously checking whether it was coming or organizing your inner state around lack. And when you keep feeding the emotional state of lack, you keep reinforcing separation from the thing you want. Obsessing over something pushes it further away because your attention stays locked on not having it. Fear works similarly. The more intensely you fear something, the more attention and energy you keep feeding it. Obsession and fear may look different on the surface, yet both keep your attention trapped. Your real power lies in learning how to come back to the now and deliberately choose the state you're feeding. That is how your desired life stops feeling so far away. You stop relating to it as a distant event in time and start relating to it as a state you can begin embodying now. Not perfectly or all at once, but consciously. And once that inner relationship shifts, everything starts changing differently. If you want a structured process for doing that work more deeply, the Isa-Sapa alignment system was built for exactly this. It helps you release old emotional patterns, reclaim your inner direction, and rebuild from a state that actually supports the life you want to live, so the gap between where you are and what you want begins to close more naturally. The link is in the description.